You know, most voters decide their choice in an election in the last couple of weeks. So the question becomes, is this soundbite from NBC a game changer?
You'll hear he also still has some problems, some challenges with speech. And I'll say, Katie, that just in some of the small talk prior to the interview, before the closed captioning was up and running, it did seem that he had a hard time understanding our conversation.
I thought we were actually going to hear Fetterman. But the race could decide control of the U.S. Senate. So here to give his take on this and a lot of other big political bits, NewsNation's political editor, Chris Stirewalt. Good to see you, brother.
Good to be with you, my friend.
Yeah, happy to be on your team. So let's talk about this first one. Fetterman coming off not as cogent. Everybody knows he's dealing with the after effects of a stroke, but what winds up being the political calculation here?
Well, this is a tricky one because for the Oz campaign and for the Republicans, capitalizing on a disability is tricky. The question with Fetterman isn't whether he has auditory problems, but is he lucid? Is he able to make good decisions? Is he competent to be a United States senator? His team would argue he can read perfectly well. He is lucid. He is cogent, and can do the job. But obviously, this is the kind of thing that Republicans are hoping can take a race that has gotten away from them for most of this cycle and put it back in play.
Do you believe that this is a neck-and-neck race? I mean, the range is somewhere between 2 and 6 points.
I think this has been a pretty consistent lead for Fetterman, or maybe I should say a pretty consistent deficit for Oz, who has not had a great campaign and has not been a good candidate. And it's also Pennsylvania. While certainly Pennsylvania, as we know, has elected plenty of Republicans statewide, Oz is not the kind of candidate generally who would do well in the state. Of course, neither is Fetterman. So this is a weird race in a state that normally likes a very boring kind of politician. It's a good one to watch, but you'd have to say that Oz has had a consistent deficit.
Weird is like everywhere these days. Now, feel free to push back on me. You know, you're the expert. But the analysis up top of the show about the voicemail of Biden saying, hey, I think you come off clean in this piece to his son, that's one thing for political examination. But the voicemail where he's obviously reaching out to a son who has struggled with addiction, that has gotten away from him, that the family is out of answers, is that fair play in politics?
Well, look, in politics, it's hard to say, you know, what's fair and what's not. It's a little ghoulish, maybe, but I'll certainly say if the intent was to harm Joe Biden, my gosh, what the opposite effect it would have, right? You can hear a heartbroken father leaving a message for his son. It chokes you up, right? As a dad, you think, can you imagine having to make this call to a person who is so clearly lost to addiction and so far gone? And it actually validates Joe Biden's take on this, right? It actually validates what Joe Biden has been saying all along about his son and his struggles.
Right.
So if the intent was to harm the Bidens, I think it backfires.
But you know, you wrote a book that you may want to remind people about, where you outline how we've gotten away from what we're supposed to do. You shine a very big light on the media, which you and I can have a couple of cups of coffee and go through in more detail. But isn't this exactly an example of a kind of the fringe frenzy that is destroying the narrative, destroying our ability to have a dialogue?
Well, I think you may be referring to Broken News, how the media rage machine divides America.
I'm sorry, what did you say? I couldn't hear for a second. What's the title of the book?
I think it was Broken News. Oh, yes, that's right. Now that you mention it. Now, one of the big problems that we have in politics today is that we have weak parties that have been supplanted in a lot of cases by partisan media. This is a great example of that. This doesn't help Republicans, but it may help the broadcaster who chose to put it on air, right? It may draw in a rating, but it doesn't help Republicans. And with a weak Republican Party and a weak Democratic Party, you have had partisan voices come in to drive the discussion in ways that are not helpful for the people that they claim to be assisting. And that's not good. We need stronger parties, but we also need more Americans to look to aspirationally fair journalism. And that doesn't mean journalism that isn't opinionated sometimes. It means journalism that is aspirationally fair and tries to be honest, at least, about what the other side thinks and what the other side says.
Now, a statement in favor of collective interest. The control of the U.S. Senate, you got to watch Oz Fetterman, and you have to watch Walker Warnock. Now, NewsNation has the debate. How big is the debate Friday night between Herschel Walker and Reverend Warnock in the Georgia Senate race?
So Walker was trying to get through this cycle without a debate. They had really tried to avoid this because, as you saw from his statements early on in the campaign, he is not ready for prime time by a long shot. And the fact that, so eventually they came to terms, thanks to the power of Nexstar and the power of local news. So eventually it came to pass that he was going to have to do it. What they didn't know when they did it would be that it would be at the time there was a snowballing scandal surrounding Herschel Walker and the women who have accused him of asking them to pay for abortions, and now including one woman who says that he told her to get an abortion and refused to pay for it. His estranged son has denounced him. It's a really bad moment. So the pressure could not be higher on Walker, who, if he had been able to just basically go into the basement, if he had found Joe Biden's basement and had gone into it, it's a good Republican year. And Brian Kemp, the Republican nominee for governor down there, is on track to win easily. I don't know if easily, but solidly at least. And Walker could have ridden his coattails. This has drawn into question for a lot of Georgians, people of faith and people of character, whether or not it is approaching a Roy Moore situation like they had in Alabama.
That's a great analogy.
So Walker really has to stand and deliver, and he really has to show not only that he doesn't bumble around like he did in the early interviews, but that he has a real answer to these terrible allegations that have been made against him, that he can really stand up and have a good answer for this. And if he doesn't, he could see the bottom fall out of his campaign at the end, as Georgians think, I just can't have this. I'd rather have Raphael Warnock for 6 more years than have to have Herschel Walker representing Georgia in the Senate. And I think that's why this debate is so crucially important.
I mean, you know, the GOP has proven to be a hang-together party. But the question is, how much can the voters take? They're asking to not just forgive, but to forget a lot with Herschel Walker. Chris Stirewalt, thank you so much for the insight. I look forward to being with you this Friday. Appreciate you.
Talk to you soon.
All right. NewsNation, as Chris told you, is the exclusive network home of the Georgia Senate debate. No hype. This race could decide control of the U.S. Senate. You tune in this Friday, October 14th, 6 p.m. Eastern, for Debate Night in America, hosted by Leland Vittert live from Savannah. I will have analysis before and after, of course, only here on NewsNation.